Hi friends, Evolving Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for following along with our collection journey. So today is very much about our collection journey because I'm going to talk about some cards that I picked up and show you some new additions to our master sets. And so as you know, if you follow the channel, one of my main collecting goals is to work on master sets. I started with the beginning of the Sword and Shield era, so starting with Sword and Shield promo cards and then Sword and Shield base set, and all through Sword and Shield and now all through Scarlet and Violet. So, master sets are challenging because, for one thing, Pokemon has new sets coming out all the time. It seems like you barely have had a chance to work on one master set, and then there's a new set of cards coming out. And some sets obviously can be pretty challenging. There's some chase cards that are pretty expensive, and some larger sets, there's just a lot of cards to work with. So we're doing our best. I think we do pretty well. And so I'm going to show you some new additions to several of our new master sets that we're working on. And then I have two binders here underneath the stack of cards because we're actually going to complete two master sets in today's video, which is really exciting. So first, I'm going to just show you some pickups that I've made recently. There's quite a few cards here. As you can see, there's a lot of cards. I spent a lot of time in this past month kind of trying to get caught up a little bit. So the first few cards are from Surging Sparks. You can see here's the Archaludon EX, Lycia's Appeal, Special Illustration Rare. So just these two, actually, I'm seeing here. So we're going to add these two to our Surging Sparks binder. That's not one of these binders, but we're getting close with Surging Sparks. We only have 3 cards left. One of them is the Pikachu EX Special Illustration Rare, so that is a chase card. That card is hovering in the mid $200 range, $270 thereabouts. And so that's one that, that's a little bit of a stretch card. So we'll get to that one. But the other two are the Hydreigon EX and the Pikachu EX, the Hyper Rare. And so those two cards are both like around 40 and 50 bucks. So those won't be too bad. So we're going to add these to our Surging Sparks binder. So that's exciting. We're also going to make some updates to our Journey Together binder, the Ionos Bellibolt EX SIR. I did pick that up. These are all cards that I picked up at local card stores. Of course, I can always buy these cards online, but I think I generally it's kind of more fun to go to local card stores and see what they have and to kind of hunt for these cards. And then I think, my philosophy too is, for lower value cards, I don't mind ordering them sight unseen online, but I think for more valuable cards, it's nice to see a copy in hand. Especially for much more expensive cards. So this one has a little bit of a kind of ding at the top, I think. Now, I don't grade my cards, and so the goal here, I do like near mint copies for my master sets as much as possible. They don't have to be pristine. They don't have to be centered perfectly, especially if it's one that I pull. Of course, then you're just at the mercy of the quality of the card. But of course I like them to be in good condition. I generally, again, I want my master sets to be all near mint cards, but that may or may not mean that they're, PSA 10 type of cards. And occasionally there might be a card that has a ding or two, but again, my goal is not to grade them, so I'm not worried too much about that. So we've got the Ionos Bellibolt, also the Hopsation EX SIR. I did pick that one up. You can see very cool card here. And then we also have the Salamence EX SIR. So often, of course, SIRs are hardest to pull. Well, technically, Hyper Rares are harder to pull. But generally, we think of the SIRs as the chase cards in each set. And so those are the ones you might pull a few. We've had some good luck with, like with Journey Together. We pulled the Lily's Clefairy EX twice, in fact. And we pulled a few of the other SIRs there. But actually, with Journey Together, it's exciting because adding these 3 cards, that leaves us with just one card, actually, that we still need. It's the N-Zoroark EX SIR. It's not that expensive. It's only around $50. I mean, again, I realize it's all relative. $50 for one piece of cardboard is kind of crazy for some people, but as far as Pokemon goes, that is actually not a super crazy thing. And so Journey Together will probably be the next master set that we do finish, but we're not quite there yet, so I'm going to add these 3 to our binder. And now we have all the rest of these cards are destined rivals. So I'd like to hold off on buying singles for sets until they've been out for a few months, ideally, because that gives prices a chance to settle. That's just, it's kind of unknown in the community. And if you don't know that, then now you know is that, it's not a good idea. On one hand, I think two pieces of advice when you're collecting master sets. One is that, it doesn't make sense to buy sealed packs and try to open for master sets because your chances, you're going to have to open thousands of packs in many cases, to pull all the cards in a particular master set. So it doesn't make sense to do that. Again, we like to open product. We like to open packs to start with. I like to open at least one of every product, and then other products as we can get our hands on them, maybe multiples of some products. But at a certain point, there's kind of a law of diminishing returns, right? Because you're going to have all the commons and uncommons and regular rares and double rares, and then at that point you're just chasing the chase cards, and again the chances of pulling any particular chase card are not super high, and so you're better off putting the money that you would have put into sealed products and packs into just buying singles. But on the other hand, you don't want to start buying singles of a set too early because the prices are usually pretty high upon release, and they tend to come down over time and then stabilize, and then in the long run the cards might go up in value. But in the short term, again, I usually wait. You want to wait at least a few weeks, and I would say, ideally, actually, you want to wait a month or even more, a couple months. So I'm just now starting to buy singles for Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals came out a few months ago, and now we have the new set, Black Bolt and White Flare, and so a lot of people have turned their attention to that. So I feel pretty confident that the prices on singles in Destined Rivals are pretty stable. So anyway, I've picked up a bunch of Destined Rivals. These are all in kind of set order based on the card number. So we start with some illustration rares, the Cynthia's Roserade, the Shaman, the Crustal, the Hydrapple, and not a lot of these aren't necessarily expensive cards. The Ethan's Typhlosion is a little more expensive. I think it's around $40. The Rotom, I think we actually pulled that card. Team Rocket's Weezing, Team Rocket's Murkrow, Zamazenta, Cynthia's Garchomp EX Ultra Rare. We're into the Ultra Rares now. Team Rocket's Persian EX Ultra Rare. And now this is, this is Ultra Rare still, Ethan's Adventure, the Judge Ultra Rare. A lot of these Ultra Rares aren't that valuable, so they weren't so bad. Just it's a matter of just picking them up. And Team Rocket's Proton. So you can see it's all illustration rares and Ultra Rares, but it's a lot of cards. It's a big set. And even by picking all of these up, we're still missing 23 cards from Destined Rivals, including a lot of the Super Chase cards. We have pulled pretty well with Destined Rivals with our openings, but again, we're still 23 cards short, and several of those cards are kind of the heavy hitters, like the Team Rocket's Moltres EX, the Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX, Cynthia's Garchomp EX, Team Rocket's Nidoking EX. Those are all over $100, and then there's a lot of other cards that are not $100, but they're still kind of expensive. So that Destined Rivals is going to be definitely a challenge to complete, but we're going to keep at it. And so now we're on to the two kind of exciting ads. We're going to finish two master sets, and we're going to do it with some pretty cool cards. And so I've got my two binders here. The first set we're going to work on, and this is my master set binder for Paldean Fates. So we're going back a little bit earlier in the Scarlet and Violet block. We can take a look here. It's kind of hard to do. So, we can see, take a look. Now this binder is all complete except for one card, and we'll get to that in 1 second. Again, this is the commons and uncommons and regular rares and double rares. These are, relatively speaking, these are not that difficult. And so there's a lot of cards in here, but if you... and for me, I've talked about this before, but I like to put the reverse holo just on top here. Some people put them separately, but for me, a master set does involve all the reverse holos, which I do have all the reverse holos for this. Those are fun to pull, and then at a certain point, you just start adding them. Now, this is a set. Now, Paldean Fates is one of the specialty sets or special sets or half sets. People call it different things. It's not a main series set. Here, we can close that. It's not a main series set, so it does... it doesn't have booster boxes or individually sleeved booster packs. You have to buy products that have this set inside. The actual set itself is not that big. It's a smaller set, but this is so big because it has all these shiny cards at the end. So you can see it starts kind of after the regular set and after the trainer cards, then it kind of goes into these shinies, and there are a lot of them. Most of them aren't that valuable, so they're not that hard to pick up. It's just, the sheer volume of them makes this a pretty large set. And then this set does actually have several chase cards inside, which we will get to those in 1 second. But this is a fun set. I mean, it's a big set, but we've been working on it for a long time now. Only a handful of these shiny cards are that valuable. I mean, Pikachu, Snorlax. Now if we get into the kind of ultra rare parts, there are two. I think these technically are, no, they're just illustration rares. Those were pretty easy to pull and not that valuable. There's the third one. So you can see our gap here. Now we do have the Bubble Mew. We've shown this on the video before. We added this a while back. I was able to trade for that. And then we also have the Charizard EX. So these kind of 3 cards are really the heavy hitters, and we're going to add the third one. But you can just see, you know, the rest of the SIRs. And then this kind of cool, the hyper rares in this particular set have this kind of really, I mean, they're gold-ish, but they have that blue kind of added, which is very cool. So we're going to go back here and try to juggle 2 things at once here. So the card we're going to add is the Gardevoir EX. That is the SIR that's missing here. This card has settled in price. I think it's, you know, around $75. So it's less valuable than the Bubble Mew and the Charizard EX, but it's still, you know, kind of a chase-ish card for this set. I was able to pick it up from a friend of mine who was looking to offload it. So anyway, so there it is. It's a very cool, it's kind of the blue Gardevoir, I think some people call it. It's got that kind of bluish like tint to it. And so we are going to add this. And it's just kind of a fun moment to finish not just that page, but now to have an incomplete master set of Paldean Fates. So that's very exciting. We will close this binder and set it off to the side. And then that takes us to our last binder. Now, I do like the Vault-X binders. I try to preview these Vault-X binders. You can see it's got SV6, so that gives you a hint of which set we're completing. And then, you know, these Vault-X binders, they're not available right when the set releases. They usually tend to do a drop. The actual binder is available a month or 2 after set release, but I really like these binders. They have, it says first edition 2024. So this, if you haven't guessed already, this is Twilight Masquerade. And you might be able to guess what we're actually going to add, because there is like 1 chase card in this set. So again, we have all the regular cards, just the commons and uncommons, the regular rares, the double rares. I think this set is, it's a strong set. It has a really strong chase card. And I think, I don't know, in the end, it'll probably end up as kind of a second tier set in the Scarlet and Violet. If you think maybe in 3 tiers of sets, there's going to be a couple like pristine sets at the top, maybe Destined Rivals kind of leading the charge there. And of course, some of the specialty sets are very strong. But then I would say Twilight Masquerade, you know, probably is maybe not quite at the very, very top of the Scarlet and Violet block. And it does still have the A-Spec cards you can see hiding in there. Now we get into the illustration rares. I think this set does have some good stuff. It's maybe not quite as strong as something like Surging Sparks. You can see here we've got the illustration rares. The Eevee card is a strong illustration rare for sure, one of the stronger ones in the Scarlet and Violet block. Then we move into the ultra rare cards, which includes the ultra rare Pokemon, and then the ultra rare trainer cards, the kind of the full art trainers we used to call them. And then we get into the SARs. I think the Ogerpon ones have been like maybe underwhelming for some people. I think this design, this kind of mosaic design, is very cool. Blood Moon Ursaluna. I think for this set, the Carmine and the Perrin were chase cards. We added those a while back, and then you get into the hyper rares, which are also known as the gold cards. And you can see we have a spot here, and this spot is, maybe you have guessed, there is kind of a chase card in this set. And this was one, of course, with the super chase cards, you really hope to pull them. But at some point, you maybe break down and buy them. And so here it is, the Greninja EX. I did go ahead and purchase this card. I was on the lookout for it. It wasn't necessarily on the top of my list, but one of my local game stores got a copy in, and I think it's a really nice looking copy. As I mentioned before, I try to hold this still. I think for cards that cost this much, I think having, you know, being able to see the card in person is really like valuable, because you really want to make sure, even if I'm not going to grade it, you really want to make sure it's a super clean copy. So I really liked the look of this copy. The centering looks really strong. The condition looks good. I mean, they did sell it as a near mint copy, but anyway, I just kind of, it was, you know, one of those, like, I thought about it and, you know, hemmed and hawed and went back and forth, but in the end I did go ahead and grab it. And so we can put in the Greninja EX to our binder, and now we do have a complete master set of Twilight Masquerade. So those are 2 master sets from Scarlet and Violet we can check off of our list. Again, That Greninja EX is a beautiful card. It's a chase card for many people. And, you know, we'll still keep opening Twilight Masquerade if we can. That set has been out a while now, so finding Twilight Masquerade in the wild is probably going to be increasingly difficult. So just there's that sense of reality that we're probably not going to pull it. We're not going to open Twilight Masquerade in enough volume to be likely to pull it. And then the price of it hopefully will only go up over time. I mean, I say that now as someone who has a copy, so I want it to go up over time, but it's probably not going to go down anymore. And so it just seemed to make sense to grab it. So there it is, the Greninja EX. And again, there we have our complete master set of Twilight Masquerade, our complete master set of Paldean Fates, and we're going to add a bunch of these other cards as we showed you to our master set binders. We're getting really close, one card short on Journey Together, and we'll keep after this. So thanks for following along with our collection journey. Thanks for watching us. Tell me how you're collecting. What are you chasing? Yeah, give us some details in the comments. That would be great to hear from you. Thanks again. We'll have a new video coming at you soon.